When someone calls a company, they expect professionalism. They don't expect slang words. They don't expect cuss words. They don't expect, hey, cool, dude. That's way too casual for a business situation.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
As I record this, I have an Arnold Palmer to go in a cup. And I got to thinking, what a perfect analogy for my idea of great customer service. I want to share that with you in this mini-sode, but want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by ANOW Software. ANOW.com is where you go to find out about the software that should be used to manage every aspect of your appraisal office. ANOW.com, ANOW.com. Folks, I just had done having lunch. One of my joys, and yes, I spend way too much money doing this. I'll admit that right up front, but it's one of the perks, I think, of being an appraiser, is I find myself, I think, in a different town every single day. And one of the things that I have really learned to love as an adult, and I say as an adult, not as a person, because it's only been in the last, 15, 20 years that I have really started to enjoy eating out and really started to enjoy food. I don't consider myself a foodie, if you will. I know that's kind of a buzzword. I certainly am no expert on food. I know virtually nothing about food. I mean, if you take me to a restaurant and let's say it is a foreign cuisine and you open up the menu, I promise you, you will know much more about what we're reading on the menu than I ever will. But I do love food, and my favorite thing is to find little dives, if you will, out of the way. My favorite thing in the whole world is to travel overseas and to find the little joints that you really have to walk, around the corner to find. I love those, but they have delicious food, great service. That is my kind of thing. But I digress. What I'm talking about is, as an appraiser, I love the fact that I love lunch. I just do. I do some intermittent fasting. I'm not crazy about it. I'm not extreme, I should say. But I don't usually eat till 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and I try to stop eating by about 8 o'clock at night. So there's a window of opportunity for me. I don't have breakfast. I have a late lunch, and I don't have late night snacks on purpose. But I do enjoy the breakup of the day of finding a place. I try to avoid fast food. I try to avoid the drive-through. I can't always because, sometimes I'm in a hurry. I've got to get things done. I get it. And you are all in that situation many, many times. But here's the thing. If I can spare a few minutes, I love finding a little place to get out of my car, stretch my legs, sit down at a table, and have lunch. And yes, I'm by myself. Oh, well, I'm an introvert. Doesn't bother me at all. But I just love being able to experience new places. Well, I had one of those situations today where I went to One Tacos in Thane, Wyoming, and I've driven past this place probably, 150 times and never stopped. And by the way, I love street tacos. Well, I had a great experience. The customer service was amazing. The food was better than average. I'm not going to say it was amazing, but it was better than average. I ordered carne asada, and they gave me, more of a ground beef. So, But their hot sauce was great. The service was amazing. It really was. For a little tiny restaurant, there were 8 tables in there. Now, there was a back room that wasn't open, so there was probably more. But at least in the dining area that I was in, there was 8 tables. There was myself and, 3 other parties in there eating at the same time. But great service. Now, I have found that one of my indulgences is an Arnold Palmer. Now, I have not eaten desserts since Valentine's Day. For whatever reason, Valentine's Day this year, 2020, I decided that I was not going to go no sugar because no sugar is nearly impossible in today's world. I mean, sugar is in ketchup. I'm not going to be the extreme, and that's why I say I've gone off desserts. There are some indulgences that I will partake. For example, I love my afternoon blended chai tea. And yes, that's got a little sugar in it. But I don't have dessert. I have not had dessert since Valentine's Day, and I feel better. I feel good. I think I'll continue. It was not a pact that I made with myself that I'm going to do for a year or 3 or 5 or until I lose a certain amount of weight. It was just I got inspired by an individual who I look up to, who is very successful, who said that he had been off of desserts for 6 years. That's all it took. And I thought, I could do that. And it's been a good thing. But I do cheat. So I say I'm off at desserts, but there are certain things that I do partake of, and one of them, I love my Arnold Palmer. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with that drink, it is basically a half and half. It is half lemonade and that's where the sugar comes in, half lemonade and half iced tea. And I love it. It is a great mixture. I think lemonade is way too sweet, especially being off of desserts. Anything sweet anymore is intensified right now for me. So lemonade, even though it may taste good, it's too sweet to me. It's too syrupy. It's just too much. Iced tea, I like iced tea, but it's not, there's not a lot of flavor there. I found an Arnold Palmer, by the way, I love looking up the etymology of things, of words, of phrases, of ideas, of recipes. There are some things on the internet about where the Arnold, yes, it does come from the golfer, and word is that he went to the same restaurant frequently, and that's what he would order, and thus they started calling that drink by that name. But anyway, I love the mixture. I love the half and half. In fact, if anything, I would prefer more like a 75% iced tea and 25%. By the way, it's a regular tea, not like a sweetened tea like you would find in the South, okay? And I don't know, many of you have had the drink. I probably spent too much time describing what it is, but there's probably a few of you that have not. But it sets up the second part of today's mini-sode, and I want to talk a little bit about customer service and how it relates to the drink, the Arnold Palmer. I want to pause here to remind you about a great company out there that is a sponsor of this program from the very beginning. When I first started doing mini-sodes, I think there was a couple weeks that we had some other sponsors, but literally from the beginning, A-Now has been there. It is a system that I use, and I use the word system purposely. It's not just a software, folks. It is a system that will allow you to be a business owner again. Folks, yes, you can do it without A-Now, but why would you when it makes it so much easier to be a business owner and to make the kinds of decisions that you need to make? anow.com is where you find out more. It's anow.com. I want to welcome you back to my car. I'm actually broadcasting from my car today. Just got done eating at Juan Tacos in Thane, Wyoming, and ordered an Arnold Palmer. Had two of them while I had my carne asada tacos, and asked for one for the road so that I could sip while I drive around doing my comp photos today. And I thought today, what a perfect analogy for my philosophy of customer service. Now, let me set this up by defining customer service. I'm talking about any time you or your staff interacts with a customer or potential customer or point of contact. So whenever you or your staff as a company, you are communicating with someone outside the office, so some other third-party individual, that is customer service. Now, my philosophy for many years, and this is taught in my webinars on customer service. There's a great webinar on my website. I think it's called Customer Service, or something very closely related on the products page on theappraisercoach.com. I teach about this mixture called professional but friendly. Now, what does that mean? Well, when I train my customer service representatives, I want them to be able to have a mixture of both, and equal parts, if you will. Okay, now you're starting to hopefully see the analogy between the Arnold Palmer drink, which is, of course, half lemonade and half iced tea, and my philosophy when it comes to customer service. Stick with me. Customer service needs to be professional. When someone calls a company, they expect professionalism. They don't expect slang words. They don't expect cuss words. They don't expect, hey, cool, dude. That's way too casual for a business situation. I want my customer service representatives, myself included, to have that level of professionalism. Now, you can go too far with that, okay? So the professional side is the iced tea. You can have a whole cup full of iced tea, or you can have 90% iced tea and 10% lemonade, and you really can't taste it, folks. Trust me, you can go too far with this, and you've experienced this. You've been on the phone with somebody that is so professional that they almost sound robotic. They are not friendly. They are not personable. They are not approachable. They are simply nuts and bolts, put it together, move on. I hate it. Can't stand it. Drives me. It's one of the things that drives me most nuts about dealing with other customer service, quote unquote, representatives. If you're too professional, I don't want to deal with you. I want to deal with a person. Now, there's the flip side of that, the lemonade side, the friendly side. Okay. I want somebody to be friendly, but again, you can go too far. You can make it too sweet, too sappy, too syrupy. Absolutely. And you can take away the professionalism by being too friendly, to being too approachable, and by letting your guard down. Remember, you are a business. So I tell my customer service representatives to be professional, use professional language, listen and respond, solve problems, but do it in a friendly manner. But don't go so far to the friendly side that it just seems unprofessional. That is the Arnold Palmer approach to customer service. Thank you for joining me today, folks. I mentioned a webinar you can find on my website. Folks, that is absolutely all of my webinars. All of them are 100% free for my All-Star team. Folks, it's $49 a month. You'll pay more than that for one webinar. You do one of those webinars per month and you are in the green, my friends. Trust me on this. That doesn't even mention the great content that you get through my newsletter, which comes in both the digital and the audio version every month. You can listen to it while you're doing your comp photos. Thank you for joining me today, folks. Can't wait to talk to you next time. Catch you then.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.